All right, so today I'm joined with one of my good friends. He is, what is that? What do you actually call yourself? The director of Sports Reach? What?
That sounds good to me. I'm the
All right.
director of Sports Reach, executive director, the director, whatever you want to call me. Just call me.
Yeah, he is the executive director, the man of Sports Reach, and that is Robby Speer. Robby, we've known each other for quite a while. Don't know exactly when we first met. I remember a couple things. I remember the night before I actually had a first conversation with you. I was at a Tennessee-Kentucky game at Rupp Arena, and you were sitting on the side on the bench talking to then assistant coach Steve Forbes. And you were talking to Steve Forbes, and I was like, you look familiar. I couldn't think of your name, so I texted Bobby Brockman. I was like, Bobby, who is this? And I sent him a picture, and he told me. And then the next night, I don't remember what happened. Either you said something to me at Veterans Memorial and Church League softball,
Yeah.
or I said something to you, and next thing I know, I was on mission trips with you.
Uh-huh. Bad news. Start talking to me because then you're going on a mission trip. Just kind of what happens. I'm the wrong guy to be around if you're gonna sit around and do nothing.
Yeah, so I know we've been on a lot of mission trips, and
Wow.
we've had a lot of long conversations on a lot of long rides.
Yeah, you are good to ride with. I mean, you're not right very often, but you're good to ride with because you always have something to say. Some crazy idea, trust me.
It's great. That's another conversation.
It is, that's for sure.
We'll go on for days.
Yeah.
But I know I've heard this before, and I just wanted to start with, I guess, your story and hear how you came to the Lord, and then I know you've got some seminary training, and we'll go from there.
Grew up in a Christian home, mom and dad. You know, we always went to church. I didn't know anything other than that, and that's what we did, and I'm grateful for that was just part of what we did. It was a normal thing. It wasn't an option. It wasn't something we discussed. We just went to church together, and Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, we did it, and I loved it. I loved going to church, and so I got baptized when I was probably 8 or 9. You know, when I was living in Jacksonville, Florida, we was sitting down front, mom and dad and them singing the choir, and so, you know, I decided I was sitting there, and I thought, well, you know what, I've seen people walk down front, I might do that. I thought, well, heck, I'm gonna do it. But everybody I ever saw walk down front cried, so I thought I was supposed to cry too. Well, I went down there and they asked me a bunch of questions. I said, yeah. And they said, well, you know the Lord. I said, okay, cool. We're going to baptize you next Sunday. Okay, it's good. Needless to say, it's a cool little thing, but it wasn't anything real, you know. But it was a step in my life of just kind of understanding. But I finally had to come to a point as a youth, living in Memphis, Tennessee, that I really never had made a real decision to follow Christ, and that's another whole story. But anyway, I did become a follower of Christ when I was young, probably 8th grade in Memphis, and you know, and I'm not gonna say I didn't change a great deal. I was a good kid. You know, so it wasn't like I was in stuff, but, you know, and even then, even before, I was still reading my Bible and doing that because, you know, back Southern Baptist way, you know, you got to be able to check off. You read your Bible and prayed and did all the stuff. So we did, in little envelopes, and so we did those things. But then I would say the biggest turn in my life is when my dad was in Vietnam. He was a career Navy, and so we'd pretty much been back in the States. And when we did go overseas, like to Bermuda and stuff like that, we were with him a little time. And then the last tour, he was going to be stationed in Jacksonville, Florida. And so he decided he would leave us in Memphis. My mom, myself, my 2 sisters. And so felt like that we were there at a great church, good school, and people aren't around, so any reason to leave, because he was going to be gone a year at a time, things like that. So I had gone into my junior year, I'd gone to basketball camp up here in Kentucky, come up with my grandparents, and went to Robby Speer. That was a big cool thing for me, and played well. Came back, learned a lot of things, and so going into my junior year, I figured I'd be on the varsity. I'd start JV, and that was okay by me. I didn't care. And we had a new coach, and just all of a sudden, it kind of came up, and I got cut, and my world was rocked. I mean, I didn't know what was going to go on with that. And I remember walking home in the rain after getting cut, and just cried all the way home, just walking home from school. And got home, and I didn't know. And so even that night, I prayed about it, and I was okay with it. I thought, well, I'll just go tell Coach the next day I'll do stats, because I enjoyed doing that, and I'll just be part of it. And in the meantime, that I know, my mom had called her dad, my grandfather, in Hallsville, and he had talked to the coach, and they said, well, we want him to come move to Hancock County. My parents had thought about it, because Dad was going to retire in a year, and talked about moving back to Kentucky anyway. So my mom decided to move me up there, and so she stayed in Memphis with the two girls. It was a huge sacrifice for her. So going into my junior year, moved up there. My grandparents were great Christian folks, but they had gone another level, and they got involved with the labor renewal program. So I started kind of going with them, and I remember on the labor renewal weekend, I don't even know where we were, but I felt God called me in a ministry. And I didn't know what that meant. People said, oh, you'll be a preacher. I said, I don't know. I said, I may sweep floors, clean bathrooms. I don't know. I just know God wants me in full-time ministry. I don't know what that means. And so all the way through, so then through there, we began to get, at my church, I became more involved with that. And we started a singing group and all kinds of stuff. But just how God just kind of kept taking it and building it piece by piece by piece to where he wanted me to be. And I think that was, for me, that was a huge turning point in my life. To see what God had been doing to my grandparents, because my grandfather was a huge basketball fan. But then all of a sudden, when he really got on fire for the Lord, it wasn't as much basketball. It was more about the Lord. And he had talked to anybody about Jesus, sitting in the mall, sitting at a restaurant. It didn't make any difference. He was going to talk to them about Jesus. That's just what he did. And that was Papa. And so he had a huge impact, him and my grandmother, on me. So that's how I came to know the Lord. Came to Campbellsville University. It was Campbellsville College back in that day, where I met my wife. Met Janet. Again, that's another whole story. But then went to Southwestern Seminary, and I was a church recreation major here at Campbellsville. Still going into my last year, my 5th year, went there on a little basketball scholarship. And going into my 5th year, I still didn't know really what I was going to do, except I knew God wanted me in ministry. And going into that last year, in that summer, Campbellsville developed a church recreation major. And I had enough hours, because I'd start out as a PE major, then became a history major, then a religious education major. I'd hit them all. But I'd taken enough classes. All I had to do was take Introduction to Church Recreation and 6 activity classes, and I had the major. Because I'd already taken the stuff, not knowing to me. God had already set it all up for me to have the classes. I didn't have a clue. I was taking it for that, and I was being prepared, didn't know I was being prepared. Don Bishop was here, and he had put me in charge of intramurals, and I'd learned a lot about running things, organizing, putting stuff together, handling people. Again, all that, just God preparing to take us where we are today. Never thought we'd be here. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Back in Campbellsville.
So you went to seminary. You obviously had you took the church rec and all that, and two things that we agree most on. I'm a huge Tennessee fan, of course.
We don't agree on that at all. No,
you're not.
I'm a Kentucky fan.
But the things
I like Louisville. And Tennessee's not okay.
Yeah,
SEC version.
The things we agree on, though, we are very passionate and love sports. No matter what kind of sports, we can watch Division III, Division II, Division I, NAIA.
Absolutely.
We can watch minor league baseball, major league baseball.
Matter. Yep.
Probably.
That right.
We can watch anything. We love sports.
Yeah.
And then this other thing we're very passionate about is the gospel, and
Yes.
we love Jesus. And
Absolutely.
I've seen you when we've been at Disney before, just chat up with somebody in line about Jesus and share the gospel. So
Sure.
how did you merge the two worlds of sports and the gospel?
You know, for me, it's not even about merging anything. It's just about living life wherever God put me. And so that's when I began to really understand what it meant to walk with the Lord. Then it was kind of becomes more of a natural thing for me, and I began to understand things. And went to a seminary at Southwestern, loved it, but I was in a great church, which was even more important to me because they meshed together. And I got the seminary element, but I got to understand more even about the local church in a larger situation, which was good for me. But again, I had no idea about the sports thing, but it's just God has taken one step at a time that I didn't dream of, and brought me to that point. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, I've had a lot of times in my life that I didn't expect at all, and it was just a point after point. When I went to Elizabethtown, Kentucky, to Severance Valley, I was in a church in Jackson, Mississippi, and I was doing youth and activities, and I really wanted to get straight back to activities, but I loved my youth. I have some people now, and just still I'm so close to. They mean so much to me, and so I hated the idea of leaving my youth, but. Severance Valley was a larger church, more money, closer to home. It was one of those situations that people think, well, once you're there, you've arrived. No, I didn't think that. Big church, I don't care, big, small, it's irrelevant to me. And so, but we went there and met a guy named Larry Percival, who, again, God was working in Larry and used him to do another flip-flop for me. Went there. Larry was an all-Southeastern Conference for University in Kentucky back in the 60s. And he was going through a time of trying to decide that God was calling him into ministry. Owned a couple of shoe stores, got out of coaching and teaching. And so we were kind of in the same, well, we could do some clinics in Eastern Kentucky. I think I'd done 2 mission trips in my life at that time, maybe 3. Been to Brazil a couple times, and to the Dominican Republic with basketball. But still not thinking anything more than just working local church. That's all I was thinking of. Kentucky was partnered with Kenya in a partnership evangelism, and so Larry was going in 1986, I think it was, going on a preaching mission to Kenya. Well, I said, Larry, when you come to Steve, I'd like to have a basketball team. He said, well, I'll ask him. So he asked him if he could come running back to the softball field after 2 weeks, and we had a church league game, and he said, Robby, got to talk to you. He said, they want us to bring a basketball team. They want us to come and stay a month and come next week. And I told him that was too quick, but we'd come next year. So we did. We said, okay, that's great. Lord answered that prayer. We'll do it. And so in the next few weeks, we started what we called Kentucky Baptist Sports Crusaders. And that was based off of a group in Texas, part of the Texas Baptist men down there. And so, 2 years after that, we realized that, everybody can't be from Kentucky. So we can't do that. And everybody can't be Baptist, or we're not going to be able to win anything with all just Baptist people, sorry. And so then that left us with Sports Crusaders, which we were for a long time. And then as we started going to different places overseas, the word Crusaders didn't fly real well. So we were left calling ourselves Sports. Well, that's not a really good name. Who are y'all, Sports? And that's when God pulled us together and went to the name Sports Reach. That says nothing but everything. So what is Sports Reach? Well, we're using sports to reach people. Pretty simple. Not threatening to anybody, didn't identify specifically anything. We go where we want to with it. And God just started out. We had 1 basketball team, 1 softball team. We lived in LaGrange, Kentucky. We did 1 mission trip internationally with each sport, and then did a prison ministry trip with there. And then we had played exhibition games with the basketball guys with another group, and then we played tournaments along with the mission trip softball, and that was it. And about 30, 33, 34 years, whatever it is now, a long time. Well, since 86, so that's what, 34 years that we've been 20-something countries all over the country and with different sports, prisons, stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
a lot bigger than I ever dreamed. Never, ever, ever thought. And God's not done yet. And who knows where we're going from there? I don't. We'll see.
Yeah. So, tell some of the people. Obviously, I know some of the mission trips you guys go on and the teams you go on. What are some of the sports that you take everywhere and teams?
We do. Basketball has been our staple, I would say. We've taken college level teams to a lot of different countries over in the Far East and down South America. I said all over spots with that. We've taken high school boys basketball. We've taken high school girls basketball, college level girls basketball. So we've done all that. Slow pitch softball. We've taken to several countries overseas. We've done fast pitch, baseball, a little soccer, not much, clinic or two, clinic teams. Have done a medical deal, which I never dreamed I would ever do. We did a sewing mission trip with some senior adults and some others down to Belize, and that was great. We had a great time with that, and so I'm just kind of hoping that whatever God opens up, we're good to go. Took some college coaches last summer to Belize from Campbell's University. So we just all kinds of sports, whatever. Somebody says, well, can we do this? Sure. Lord wants you to do it. We'll help you do it. We'll find a place. And so we just have people continue to call and say, well, could we do this? Well, let's pray about it and see what God wants. And we can go do it. We'll find a spot and see who wants one. And He takes care of it.
Wow. Interesting. So I'm going to ask you the next question. See where you go with this, okay?
All right.
I love hearing advice, and I probably blow your phone up and ask for advice a lot too, and ask you things about cities or places or what you think about this, that, or the other. So I want to know, what is the single best piece of advice you've ever heard?
Honest truth. Love God, love people.
So,
I'm a pretty simple guy, so people are pretty simple with me. I think if you get that,
yeah.
if we as a country, if we as churches just understand what it really means to love God and trust Him and believe Him and follow Him, then we're going to be able to love other people.
Yeah.
And we start loving people and say, okay, God, now what do you want me to do to show your love to other people? And be open to whatever He wants you to do. I love not living in barriers and boundaries. Whatever God wants to break down, He can do it. And I'm good with it. That, we get these boxes, we try to say God has to work in this. Let God be God. And then follow Him.
Yeah.
And then it's an amazing journey. And then you do things you never dreamed that you'd ever get to do. I've had more people talk things they've been able to go with us and they said, I never dreamed I would ever do something like this. Well, guess what? Me either. And that's because God's dreams are just so far beyond ours. And we just limit God by saying, well, God, I don't want to. Just let God be God and trust Him, and let's do what He wants us to do.
Mm-hmm.
Be open to it, man.
Yeah.
And then that's when things blow up.
Yeah. I'm going to get into some fun stuff in just a minute that I think you'll enjoy.
Right.
But I want to ask you one more serious question.
Sure.
I want to know, because we talked about it a couple times when I lived, probably when I lived in Nashville. And I asked you anything randomly like, what are you reading lately? I want to know what your favorite book you've ever read is. You can't say the Bible.
I don't know that I have a favorite book, because the books that I really liked that meant something, it's because it was that moment.
Okay.
That was something I was reading then that God was using to speak to me at that point. And, I remember when I was in seminary and I read Watchman Nee's book, with one Romans, and just loved it, ate it up, loved it. Well, I never even picked it up again. Except using it for the Bible study or something. So again, I'm not a rereader kind of guy, and I like watching a movie. I watch a movie once, that's it. I'm not a big on watching now. TV shows I don't mind watching reruns, but I'm just not a big. So I just don't reread books a lot now. I use them for a study type thing. I'm in the process now of reading a book that I think is going to be a really good one by. I've gone blank. ESPN guy. Jimmy Dykes.
Okay.
Really good book. It's good, so I'm enjoying that.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. All right, so I know when we went on mission trips, we always went down maybe a few days early, and we always did a little bit of fun things because we love Disney.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. I'm definitely a Disney guy.
Love Disney.
Yeah. Disney and Christmas. That's me.
Yes. Yeah, I remember listening to Christmas music on the way to Disney.
Absolutely, yeah. Summertime, I'm good. We'll go for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm going to tell you to plan for people the perfect Disney day.
Okay. It depends on how much time you have.
Okay. Say the time.
How many days?
Okay.
Do you have one day?
Let's go 2 days.
2 days would depend on if you were by yourself or you're with somebody. There's a lot of ifs with that, and but in one day we can hit all 4 parks.
Mm-hmm. We did.
I have a good system to hit all 4 of those, and if you want to hit 2 days, it just depends on whether you want to double another one of the parks. But you can hit 3, 4, and it depends on time of year. You can hit them all.
Mm-hmm.
It depends. See, I love the design based on what you want.
Okay.
What you enjoy, and things then I have recommendations of things that I really enjoy that I think you'll like. And so it just depends on if you're a big roller coaster guy. I can't do those anymore because of my heart, but I loved them before. So, you would do this, and just, I like to, all the things to do, I like to try to involve the things you like and kind of map them out like that.
Yeah.
But anything Disney, I'm good.
Yeah. So I know we always have to hit Epcot.
Oh, yes.
And you know this about me. I'm
Yeah.
dying to have another one. Gotta eat one of those pork chops.
Oh, good grief, yeah. And I'll tell you something that Disney has been really great about. I've had to cut back a lot on the sodium after the stroke, but they were great about, like Epcot back there down in the land where you get the pork chop and stuff. And I say, look, here's my situation. They said, well, we fix whatever you want, whatever you want, and we'll do no seasoning. And so they were great. So.
That's so cool.
No, I didn't get through the macaroni and cheese. That's a little high for me, but vegetables and chicken and stuff, and it was good. So I enjoyed it.
Okay, so let's just say there's 4 parks.
Mm-hmm.
We start out the park we usually start out the day at Animal Kingdom.
Yeah,
right?
my system, we're going to start the Animal Kingdom. We've got to get there early. As soon as it's open, so we get in line. We got to be early so that we're first. When they drop the cord, then we zip straight to the back to the safari ride. That's the one you have to do first. And so to me, that's one of the greatest rides in the world. Love to get on that. I got to sit on the left-hand side so I can see there. It's what I like best. So I got to get in there. We'll get to the safari ride, do that ride. So as soon as you go, your timing just right. You can zip right up, and then you catch the Lion King show. Now, depending upon if you're a roller coaster person, if you are, then we can hit one of the roller coasters there. If not, that's the 2 we'll hit. But now they also have another ride that's the I didn't like it. the rest of the family liked it. The it's that weird movie, the Purple People or whatever they were.
Oh yeah, yeah. That one, I don't remember the name.
Yeah,
of it.
well, it didn't matter. I didn't like the ride. I did it, but anyway. So those are the ones I'm going to hit. Then we'll hit. Then we'll go. And you have to have a chocolate covered banana. That's
Okay.
right over there, and then we'll head over from there. Head over to Epcot now, and depending upon whether we're going to try to hit 2 shots of Epcot on the front end, and then go hit. Now, typically I don't worry about Magic Kingdom because I've been there so many times. Most people probably know that one. So hit that and go over to the movie studio, and they've got a lot of new stuff they've changed. So a lot of things have changed about it. But now that my favorite ride is absolutely one of the dumbest rides. Most people, but I love Carousel of Progress over in Magic Kingdom. I love it. It was debuted in the New York World Fair, and it's the same one. They just keep adding different things. It's just kind of looking at development of law. Oh gosh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh yes, great big people. I love it. Yeah, I love it.
Funny.
So, I have to do that one.
Yes.
So
Yeah. I remember every time we went, we always hit Epcot probably around, we got to Epcot around lunchtime.
yeah,
And then we usually ended the day at Epcot again
right,
because they always shot the fireworks.
Right.
The big ball, I
Yeah.
don't remember what it's called. It turns purple and it's real
Right.
beautiful. And
yeah. That's a good.
Really
Let's kind of
cool.
wrap it up there. Cause that's when you get in the middle because you want to get you got to get over so you can ride the Living with the Land ride, and then the Soarin', which is a great
Oh,
ride.
yes.
So you get that. So then you eat in between. Then you go over and do the. You just got to be flexible.
Yes.
Go where I want to go.
I think I'd
What our
forgot.
time frame and go. But now we do go. We move quickly. That is one thing.
Yes.
Now I don't quite move at that pace anymore. My times I have to be in the wheelchair. I just can't go as fast as I used to go. I used to run pretty good. I'd have football players trying to chase me. I'd be the lead blocker. Just follow me. I'll get everybody out of the way and we'll go. So, but
Very true.
don't quite do that anymore.
Very
Part of
true.
being old. But
You definitely got to experience everything when you went to Disney with Robby.
absolutely. If you go, I want to make sure you have a great time.
Yeah. The other thing that's not a part of the Disney parks that I know you love is putt-putt.
Oh, absolutely. No, not putt-putt. Fantasia golf. Different. Fantasia golf. And it is a type of putt-putt, but it's not like anything you've ever played before. It's like playing on a real golf course. It's a par 72, 18 holes, but all the holes, there are no obstacles except for like the sand trap, and it's like a brown carpet, and all the undulations and stuff like that. And so there's about 4 or 5 par 5s, but it is great. And every golfer I've ever met loves it. And most golfers aren't crazy about putt-putt. So there's only 2 or 3 holes that you really have a chance, legitimate chance to get a hole in one. And so, but everybody that plays it, I love it.
Yeah.
Over and over and over.
Yeah.
Often as I can play it.
Yes.
But coronavirus got me this last time. We was down there and didn't get to play. That was a sad moment in my life.
I would say so. They just redid that too, didn't they?
Yeah, they've redone it, recarpeted, so and done some things with it. It's really nice. It's even nicer. It was nice before, but
Yeah.
it's a fun course. It's really good though after it's rained a little bit because it's a little bit slower, so you can score better on it after a little rain. Yeah, I got this down. You're right.
And we haven't even talked about Downtown Disney yet.
Disney Springs.
Oh, my
See,
bad.
it's changed. The Disney Springs, it has all of it, and that has really become incredible.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, it's amazing. They've added, got the NBA store, but it's like not just a store, but it's like a thing you can go do all these activities and stuff. But one of the coolest things I think about it, when the first time I went in, they let people have basketball. As soon as you go in, it's a regular store, But they let kids dribble basketball. They're dribbling basketballs all around the store. Well, you know, people are like, well, you can't. Oh, yeah. The kids get to pick a ball up. The kids just little bouncing around, ball rolling across the floor and things like that. It was fun. Yeah, it was a neat little deal. I loved that as a kid. Just dribbling basketball in the store.
Goodness, that sounds phenomenal.
It was. It's a neat place. I enjoy going there. I really do.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna give you said your favorite sport is basketball, correct? Would you say basketball?
Probably I'd have to go with that. Typically depends on time of year, but I would probably say I'm more of a basketball guy than anything.
Okay. I'm not even gonna say Jordan or LeBron because we both know the answer to that. But I'm gonna give you a chance to give me a starting five, and we can go if you want to college because I don't think you like NBA as much.
I don't like NBA.
We can go college or NBA. All-time five that you were going to put together to win. Not one, not two, not three, multiple championships.
Yeah. Well, see, then you've got to. The thing about that is, college is so different than NBA is easier because you remember there's a million college players, and the problem is you really are apples and oranges in college because you got guys that are a 4-year player or this 1-year player. You know, you look at an Anthony Davis who was phenomenal as a 1-year player. Then you got Lou Alcindor, who was a phenomenal 4-year player. Well, you know, a 4-year player, an older guy like that, well, that's going to be tougher to do. But when you say compared to win or what, so, but I guess if you go pro, obviously I'm going to want Michael Jordan, and I'd really like playing with it too. Now, my favorite three, I'm a Rick Barry fan. I loved Rick Barry. Because of Rick Barry, I got one of my first spankings that I really remember, bad spankings for cussing. He was with the San Francisco Warriors and a magazine, and he did a Snickers commercial, and then a magazine called Sport Magazine to come out, and so I didn't really at all care about Snickers except that Rick Barry ate them, so I was eating one. So that's all I wanted was Snicker bars because Rick Barry did it well. In the magazine, I was reading it, and he had said a cuss word, the D word. Well, so a few days later, I don't know what grade I was younger, and I decided I was going to say it. And that didn't go over well with my dad at all, because we didn't have that language around my house. And I got a spanking for that, and I said, but Rick Barry said it. He goes, yeah, but I'm not Rick Barry's dad. So I learned real quickly that what somebody else can say, I ain't saying in my house. And that's, but it did. So I love Rick Barry. You know, I'd like Oscar Robertson.
Okay.
Play him at the point because he could handle, he could do everything.
Okay.
I really like him. You know, he was that big, strong guy before big, strong guys were big, strong guys. You know, out at the point. So I was a big fan of Big O. In the middle, see, again, you got to figure you can't have everybody that can score. You know, I'm trying to think who. Of course, I really liked Larry Bird. I thought Larry Bird was great at the four. Put him down there, and then in the middle could be anybody, but no, just for the sake, I guess it's hard to go against Kareem because he can do everything, and so I could live with that five.
Okay.
You know, I mean, but you know, there's so many great players in the NBA. The thing about that is you couldn't go wrong with about any five. With any five that you would want to name are all greats. You take any of the 50 greats and take them, but then you probably put guys that weren't in that list, but guys like Keith Wilkes, you know, who fit that Warrior team that won the championship. You know, they had Nate Thurman, the big center, and then Wilkes and Barry, and then Jeff Mullins, and then Al Attles was the point guard. Well, they had the pieces, and they won a championship. Well, it wasn't necessarily what you call a, you know, we've signed all these superstars and put them together.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that kind of team. It had, you know, Thurman was a star, and Barry and the others were really, really good. But so it was that kind of team. So it was different back then than now. It's like, just see how many we can buy and stick them together.
Yeah.
Go from there. So.
Yeah, I could tell you mine, and you'd say we wouldn't win.
Who would you say?
I know he's not an all-time great. One, probably at my 4, I would have Ben Wallace.
That's a good one.
I love Ben Wallace.
Yeah.
Dirty guy.
Yeah.
Did everything well.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad one.
Love Ben Wallace.
Yeah.
I would probably do a 3-guard lineup. I'd have to go with Jordan. And then I'd go my favorite all-time player,
Yeah, well.
Allen Iverson.
Oh, yeah. And
then
add another one.
Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, well, the problem is you ain't got no basketball. You got Allen Iverson and Russell Westbrook on the same team. You clearly don't have enough basketballs. I don't even care. Forget Jordan or anybody else. You better have Ben Wallace. You better have a center that doesn't want to see the ball either. See, that's all I know. You may as well go ahead and get Lambeer. Stick him in there.
Ooh, that'd be a good one.
Well, yeah, with that team, because I got news for it. I ain't seen if they want, they better go get it.
Lambeer, Wallace, and Russell might fight over rebounds though, so I couldn't do that. Got to work on team chemistry.
You were back team chemistry, and you got Russell Westbrook and Iverson. Yeah, right.
I don't know who I would pick at center. I like Hakeem a lot. I think. I guess you couldn't go wrong with the Orlando version of Shaq.
Yeah.
Not the LA version. I like Orlando's where he got up and down.
Yeah.
Got up and down a lot. So I might go with Shaq.
Come on.
And then we'd just be super athletic.
That'd be a good one. Because he pretty much had to go get it himself. He wasn't going to score a lot with that. So, yeah. Because he ain't going to see it.
Yeah, you're right, because Allen and Russell aren't going to miss any shots.
You're not. Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, that's true.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, I think that's probably who I would go with. I know they're probably not all-time greats in anybody else's playbook, but they're in mine, so.
Yeah, well, everybody's allowed to have their own playbook. Whether it stinks or not, it's up to them.
That's so funny. This is part of the rides that we were talking about. We just go back and forth like this. Stop.
He's good to keep you awake while you're driving.
Yeah.
Because he has more nonsensical things to say than any human being I've ever met.
Makes for a fun ride.
It does. Time goes by quick. Yes, no question about it.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just kind of wrap up and chat about how anybody that, well, I know it's going to be a little different now because we don't know how COVID's going to mess with the world. If you want to say anything about how COVID might affect Sports Reach as far as ministry impact.
Oh, just internationally, obviously things are on hold now, but we've been still able to maintain softball teams who are doing some stuff, and we're playing with that and having good response, with that. We really over amped up the devotionals I do every morning. Probably close to 1350. I send out every day, and so that takes a little time to do that, but I'm getting good responses, and today, and we've been just going through, this one has been on the Sermon on the Mount, and so we had the little passage on fasting, and I was surprised on the number of comments that I got on that. Oh, I've done that, and it's really, or somebody, I really needed that today, which is, I guess that's the kind of thing that's been interesting, is to the comments you hear from people that you don't hear from at all, and then all of a sudden there's something that hits them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that we've been able to try to do, is to go to a different level with that, which is a little more work, and that's okay. But just a little more media driven with stuff is what all the churches have had to go to, and so that's just kind of part of the change. You got to be willing to move, and I think key in this time frame is be willing to plan and change. Plan and change, and don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is what we feel like God wants us to do now. So let's plan this and see, and we're working toward this direction. Now, if God says, stage left, we'll go. It's not going to make any difference.
Mm-hmm.
So we're good with that. So that's good.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to get involved, what do they need to do?
Then go to our website, www.sportsreach.org, and we have a monthly newsletter that goes up on there that you can pick that up or find out what we're doing. It's got my phone number. Feel free to call and talk to you. Got ideas about something you'd like to do? Maybe your church wants to do something, or somebody that you know would love to put a kids baseball team together to go somewhere. We'll talk. We'll see what God wants.
Yeah. So I think it's only fitting to end the video the way we end every prison ministry.
We can do that. We can do it right here.
Yeah.
We'll do it on 3. 1, 2, 3. God's glory.